Hello, everyone. My sister and I are here to address some very pertinent issues. You know what has been trending lately as PKs. PKs stand for Pastors' Kids, and we're very much concerned about what is going on, and we want to talk, heart-to-heart talk, and hopefully this would really go a long way to help you if you're a concerned party, if you're a pastor's kids, if you're a pastor, a pastor's wife, and you're struggling in dealing with some of these issues. We would want you to listen, even as a congregant or as a Christian who has been pastored by someone for several years. You also have a responsibility, and we want all of us to talk, and come to an understanding that would be helpful to all of us. So, Nana, you can.
So we just want to talk about pastors' kids. So there are so many cliches or many things that people say concerning pastors' kids, that they are the most terrible people on earth. That they are so bad. Like sometimes you go somewhere, Pastor Chanda, no wonder, hey, now their son or mutio, munye, you need the inter. I'm like, wow, how different are we from every other person that has been born out there? I agree, we are different because our parents have been called by God. They've been anointed and ordained to do the work of God. So the difference is that our parents have been called by God, so the standard is high, and that is how we are measured by, quite unfortunately. And so it's sometimes even the least thing you do is like, whoa, what's going on with this one? And people don't seek to even understand you or know where you're coming from before they start to judge you, and that is an issue. And it's unfortunate for this young man that his has gone to this point, but I know that definitely started from a place, and a lot could have been done about it. Not blaming the parents or anything, but as my sister said, everybody has a role to play. The church, the parents, the child himself has a role to play in order to shape himself up to be the person that he has been born to be. And so there's no judging here. We are just truthfully pouring out our hearts by our own experiences, and just wanting you to know that it's not that easy, and it's not that simple as people think it is. I've seen many comments about this situation where somebody was like, oh, the Archbishop child was say riches almost was say, and I'm like, wow. And somebody's like, okay, Archbishop, he's anointed enough to preach and take away demons and stuff from people, but he cannot do the same for his children. I'm like, wow, people really have opinions, People really have opinions, and it will shock you that these very people, even in their homes, things are not going well, but they don't think there's an issue with that. Just because your father is the pastor, they have the right to come and talk about yours, and so that's how it's been.
And from our own experiences, I mean, my personal experience, it's a difficult thing to deal with. Coming from the point where you're growing up and you feel like you're never good enough, because whatever you do as a pastor's child, people judge you.
Yep.
So it's a very difficult thing to deal with, and I'm sure a lot of PKs would identify with what I'm saying. You try to do your best and people still judge you. Everybody around is like, oh, Osofoba, now I say Osofoba or PK, they can't get it right, you can't get it right, you're supposed to know better. And you try so hard, and at a point you feel like I can't be good enough, and so I will not even bother.
That's right.
I've been there before. I've had that experience, and a lot of PKs have been through that.
That's right.
When you're trying so hard and you feel like you can never be good enough, it gets to a point where you rebel.
Yeah.
You rebel because you feel that I've done all I can, and everybody out there, most people out there think that I'm not good enough, and they will judge me anyway. So
Yeah.
why should I
bother?
even, why bother being good?
But you know, I just around this point, as a pastor's kid, when you get to this point, that's the point where the parent, most of the time, if the world will not even receive us or understand us or try to be considerate even in their judgment of us, we at that point will be looking to the parent for approval. But if the parent is also judging or not understanding, then that's an issue. That's where the rebellious spirit starts to build up in you, because the devil is even looking for a leeway. He's looking for an opportunity for you to discredit the work of your parents already. So at the point where the world and the church is looking at you and not even understanding what you're going through or being merciful or loving towards you, the place where you're looking for that love mostly is from your parents. And that approval, everybody seeks for that father's approval, that the father will know that, oh, you're my child, I love you anyway. That approval is always, hanging. Like, it's like, if the church won't do it, I'm waiting for my parents to accept me and embrace me, and even if I'm wrong, correct me and bring me to that place where I can be seen as somebody who is worthy of their love. And so right at that point where you start feeling that way, if you don't get that love coming from home, that is also a big issue.
It is. It becomes a very big issue, especially towards your teenage years. It can be very disturbing.
That's right.
And so for most people who would be driven to do drugs and to fall into fornication and probably friendship, drugs and all that, at this point is where the approval you're seeking you don't get, and you end up looking for love in all the wrong places. Seeking love from all the wrong places, you can end up in bad company.
That's right.
And it can shape you in the wrong way,
That's
unfortunately.
right.
But
Yes.
that's the truth.
That's the truth. That's the reality. And it's interesting that as a pastor's child, you recognize that even in your home, for us, we had many people living with us, and so it's not only the parent that's shaping your life. We had people that had been converted by our parents through ministrations, and Muslims that had become Christians, and their parents had sacked them from their home and now were living with us. There were people that had to aunties, cousins, people that had to stay at our homes because they needed deliverance over a period of time, and counseling, and all these people, you encounter them, and it will surprise you the kind of things that you pick from them that your parents are not even aware of. You realize your parents are not even aware of these people that you have encountered, aside that you are in school. You are in school, and because you are seeking for approval and love, you anybody that shows you a little concern and love, you think the person likes you, but it might not be true. The person might be just trying to destroy your life or even put you in a bad light, but you might not know, but you think that this is the right crowd to be with, or this is the right company to be with, just because you're not sort of getting that at home.
And sometimes we shouldn't forget that because your parents or your dad is into the ministry, I mean, they are dealing with people's demons.
Yes.
They are delivering people. Yes. And all that, and so all sorts of attacks come from different places.
Angles,
when they can't get your dad or your mom, they attack the
best
children.
That targeting does not stop.
It doesn't.
And so that targeting does not. They come after you as a pastor's child. Like, I'm telling you, if you're a PK, I'm telling you, at a point in your life, okay. And I was discussing with my sister before we came on there, like, we need to come to that point where we know, yes, there are times that some parents can, disappoint you and not give you that love. Some parents might even be clueless about what you're even going through. But at a point, you need to realize that you are a target and start to build up your faith for yourself. Because my sister would tell you, if it's not that we stood and said, okay, our parents are pastors, but we also have become Christians, and we need to build our faith and pray and contend with those spirits and demons that have been contending with our lives and destiny. Because during the judgment day, there's only as much as your parents can be blamed for. As a child, you will mature eventually, and then you have your own responsibility to build yourself up in a good way.
Exactly. Exactly. You have that responsibility.
Yeah.
And so at a point you need to come to a decision to accept Jesus Christ for yourself.
Yes.
To come to an understanding that, I mean, salvation is an individual thing, it's a personal thing, and so you need to make that decision for yourself.
Yes.
You know, and for most speakers, it becomes a very difficult thing because you're
always,
especially when you're born into it already, your parents are
heard about Jesus your whole life.
It becomes like a casual something. You always hear about Christ, and the unfortunate thing is that if you're not careful, making that decision becomes a very difficult thing because Christian, and so that point where you come to a decision to give your life to Christ, if you are not careful, you are not able to do that at a point because you're growing up as a Christian anyway, and so you it's difficult for you to make that decision at a point where you know that this is where I gave my life to Christ. A lot of PKs go through that. You don't even know the point exactly, whether it was 10 years old, 8 years, 15 years, 18 years, or you know, that decision time, you are not even sure at what point you really made it. Some of us made it several times because there's a revival like church or at home, your parents pray with you, you join in and you do it over and over again. But how serious were you about it? That decision, was it genuine, or were you just led to do it because it was just a formality? And it can be a very difficult thing, you know, where you're just, you know, being dragged along and you're not making the decision. And it can be very difficult. It can be, you know, it can be very difficult, but you need to do that. You need to make that decision for yourself and decide that, you know, I am going with Christ. It's not about what my parents are doing. This is my own personal decision. And
because it's easy to just live under the shadows of your parents and feel like, okay, this I'm just being cool, I'm being good for their sake and all that. But how about for your own sake and for the fact that you also have received Jesus Christ into your life, and so you want to live a life pleasing to God? Because at a point it would seem like, okay, I need to do this right, I don't need to do this, so otherwise I'll disgrace my parents. But that narrative should change to a place where I don't need to do this, I don't need to do that because I don't want to disappoint God. That's where it should come to. That's where it should come to. And parents, our dear pastor and our pastor's wife, our father, our mother who are in ministry, we love you and we know it's not easy. We understand because I was telling my sister that we both have had different experiences with our parents because she's the firstborn, I'm the lastborn. When my daddy started ministry, she can talk about what she went through because starting ministry didn't come with all its glory, blessings, and there was not much money. I probably came to meet my parents at the peak of his career. So my narrative might be very different from his. But what we want to tell the parents is that the torment, the approval we search for, the love that we need is so real. Sometimes you might think like, oh, Jai, be serious with your life and do what be serious and blah blah blah. But it's not that. Sometimes it's just you the ones that give it to us. We're just looking at you and be like, can you just tell me you love me? Can you just tell me that it's okay? I've got you. It doesn't matter what the world thinks about you. I know you because you are my child and I gave birth to you and I know you well. You know, you can, even if the person is going wayward, you can tell the child you can do better in a way that the child will know that, oh, my dad is expecting something really good from me, you know, and you should have that chat and conversation with them. In our home, we had a good communication, but I always say good communication doesn't just rely on talking about normal stuff. It's the deep stuff that we choose, that we subtly neglect. That we think that it's okay. And
let me also say here is that we understand the pressure of the ministry. The pressure of the ministry. As a pastor, you know there's so much pressure. You're dealing with people's issues, and so sometimes you take it all on you, and you're solving other people's problems. And you end up neglecting the home. It is not on purpose. You don't do it on purpose as a pastor, but it happens. You know, you get so overwhelmed with so many other people's problems out there, and before you know, your children are going wayward, you might not see it. You might not see it. They need you, and you are not able to be there for them, not because you're doing it on purpose. You're doing God's work. My dad, for instance, at a point got so consumed. I mean, he's all about God's kingdom. He got so consumed. I remember at a point in our lives when we were much younger, he used to take us out, like when it's your day, like
your birthday,
you
go on a walk with
if
you.
you're Tuesday born on a Tuesday, for example, for me, he would take you out, you would talk, maybe eat somewhere, then he would ask you how you are doing and all that. He stopped it at a point because he was so busy he couldn't do it. And I remember how I used to miss those times. You know?
And it's so funny. All four of us remember those times. If we sit with our other sisters, we have two other siblings, one in America, one in Canada. And when we sit, it's so sharp in our memory. Why? Because we loved it.
It has left an indelible mark.
And we always talk about it that our dad used to really do that.
One
and
of those best times. But unfortunately, he couldn't continue because he was overwhelmed. Ministry, he would travel out here and there. He would go and minister, doing crusades all over the world and in Ghana as well. And he couldn't continue. You know. I remember one of the most touching moments in my life that defined certain things for me was when both parents traveled. I was in secondary school and I had come home. I knew they were traveling, but when I came home, I saw the difference. My parents were not there. I remember how emotional it was for me. I was a teenager. They were not there. My aunties were there. I came home and I felt their absence and I started crying bitterly. My mom was not there. My dad was not there. I felt lost. I felt so lost. And I remember very well when I think back, those were the times when I started looking for love and affection from outside. Our aunties who were left to look after us didn't understand me then. I remember when I would, way back, I love to look good. And I'll be in the mirror combing my hair, putting on powder on my face and all of that. And my auntie will come and be shouting at me and asking, where are you going? Trying to look good? Who are you trying to look good for? You think that those boys out there, they love you. And she didn't understand me. And so his tantrums pushed me out there. And I started making friends out there. And I remember then, people that I trusted, there were some people who were living in our house. The first time, and this my dad doesn't even know, but I'll talk about it. The first time that I got sexually abused was around that time. I didn't have sex, but a man in our house forced me to touch his genitals. Basically, it was someone that I loved and I looked up to as a big brother, kind of, and we became close. And he abused me sexually. He forced me to touch his genitals, and I felt very disgusted and all that. But at the same time, I didn't know how to handle it. I didn't know who to talk to. It was an emotional time. I was distraught. I needed love, and I was looking for love in the wrong place. But unfortunately, that person who should have been there to guide me was abusing me sexually. Most pastors' children have gone through this. A young girl who we got very close to recently, who's a pastor's child, was telling us about her experience, how she watched her own father abuse someone, rape someone, and the dad was in ministry, one of these old prominent churches. He was a pastor, and we saw very good things about my dad. My dad is a great dad, very well rooted, awesome. He brought us up really, really well. But unfortunately, some of these pastors out there, they look really, really good. They are heroes in the eyes of the congregation and all that, but they are different at home.
That's right.
Fortunately for us, my dad was awesome at home.
He was consistent.
And it was very consistent.
Church, at home,
he would preach
a great person.
at church, preach at home, and he was very consistent. He pushed us, to go for camp meetings to help us grow spiritually. And so if I go wayward, or God forbid, I know I will make it to heaven, but if I don't make it, I can never blame my dad for that, because I know he was consistent at home and outside. He's been very consistent. He preaches the word and he practices it. But I know PKs who had the experience of their pastors, their parents being the good pastor out there, but they were not good at home. They were abusing their mothers. They were abusing them even at home, and they were abusing others.
That's right.
And so for these kind, you can imagine how distraught they will be at home.
That's right.
How distraught, how it will affect them, because they see that dad who is holy out there, but it's terrible.
It's different.
It's different at home, and that can really affect them badly and shape them differently. People have different stories as PKs. Today, it varies. And so I would want to talk to you as a PK, as a pastor, whatever you're doing, know that it tells on your children. It shapes them.
It shapes them.
One way or the other.
And also know that other people that you let into the family are also shaping them, and you need to pay attention. And now I want to bring the church in also. Look, our parents are pouring out their lives into your lives. Basically, if they are not with us and paying attention to us, they are paying attention to you. The least the church could do is to support the family that is leading them into Christ and blessing their lives and anointing them. Is to pray and support them. But we don't see that. Even the church is being judgmental, and they are not loving on the pastor and their family. They are just being judgmental. But if our parents are not with us, they are with you. They are traveling all over the world to be a blessing to you. They are coming into your homes. You get to call them anytime you want. Pastor, hey, BBS, you me here, but we don't have it that way. So I would say that you are even sometimes more privileged than we are. So you need to know that you have a role to play as church people, as people who have received a lot from our parents also. You need to know that. And I thank God for my big sister. And I say that because she went through a lot of things, but I escaped them because she was there for me. And many times that the time that I was living with her was in my late teens, and there's a lot more things that I got to know that she corrected me, or she would call me, sit me down when I go out and come back and advise me, because she doesn't want me to go through what she went through. You get it? And so I had her. Thank God I had her. And as we keep talking about this, I want you to know we are talking about this because it's not solely dependent on the pastor's child. It's not solely dependent on even the pastor and the wife. It's not solely dependent on the church. We all need to play our role.
We all need to play our role. And if you're a church elder, all the shepherds and all that, you're all part of this. If ordinary people who go to church, even if you don't have any position, you all need to play a role.
That's right.
Pray for that pastor. Pray for their children. Call them if you think they are going wayward. Correct them in love. Don't judge them. No. Correct them in love. Talk to them.
Correcting them in love is necessary, because if you don't, the enemy will bring somebody in that seems like they are loving on the person, but they are not doing that.
They are not doing that. Agents of Satan who are pushed into their lives to change their course, to change their destiny, to destroy their lives. You need to open your eyes, shine your eyes, open your eyes, and look out for these pastors' kids, elders' kids, and all these people, and love on them, help them grow. Whilst their pastors are pouring into other people's lives and are not able to be there for them like they should, you have a role too. You have a responsibility. Don't just look at them and think they are terrible. They are terrible. They are this. They are that. Just approach them, talk to them, and love them. Correct them in love and help them grow. You have a responsibility to, as a Christian, as a congregant, play your part and help. Let's all help shape them. Let's pray for these pastors. They need us. Let's pray for the bishops. Let's help encourage them. Let's help their wives and not judge them. When they wear this, you're judging them. You're calculating how much they're spending on their clothes and all that. That is not what they need. It's unnecessary.
So unnecessary.
Help them, encourage them, be there for them, pour out the gifts into their lives, encourage them. and let's all build this together, because if the church is attacked in any way, it tells on you as a Christian. It's not good for you.
No.
It's not good for you.
No,
it doesn't do you
right now
any
you think
good.
that, oh, it's just Archbishop's problem and his child's problem. No, there are people in the world out there going like, these Christians are, they are always one issue or the other. And if he says these Christians, we are all one. We are all one. We are united. We are united. So it's not just the Archbishop's problem. It's not just the Archbishop's problem. Yeah, that's what
and let's say here that everybody has an issue.
Yeah.
People are bad, be it, you know, pastors' children, policemen's children, whoever's. People can be bad.
Yeah.
The fact that
It's not peculiar to PKs.
pastor, someone's parents are pastors or whatever, doesn't mean that they cannot be bad. It doesn't mean that they're escaping from the devil's claws.
Yeah.
So stop being judgmental. They're doing their best.
Yeah.
Help them. Help them.
Yeah.
Help them.
Yeah.
And don't judge them. Pray for them. And I would want to say that if you're a pastor's child and you're going through anything, please get in touch.
Yeah.
We want to form a support group to help each other. I mean, we have our sisters, like, you know, Evangeline and the likes. I have my brother Nase Bwedi. We have a group that we've all gone through things that we can share our experiences with you and support us each other. We want to be praying together once in a while and, you know, party together in love and help each